Okay. Welcome, everybody, and thank you so much for joining. Today, we're going to be doing the Women Healing Women webinar. We're doing this today at 10 o'clock in the morning, and then we're doing it again tomorrow at 5 o'clock on Wednesday. So welcome, guys. As I said before I hit the record button, I'm trying a different format today where I'm going to use a PowerPoint, and occasionally I'll jump back and forth between the video and the PowerPoint. But I find, especially when I'm watching webinars, sometimes it's helpful to engage the mind when you have words to read, because it'll keep you engaged. And I will be opening it up later on to Q&A, to questions. But if there's stuff that's burning as I'm teaching, please type into the chat box. I think I can figure out how to access that. And yeah, let's have some fun today. So before we begin, let's go ahead and close our eyes. With our eyes closed, just exhale into your body. Inhale, let your belly rise up towards the ceiling. Exhale, let your belly fall down towards support. Inhale for 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold the breath. Exhale, 1, 2, 3, 4. Inhale, 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold it. And exhale, 1, 2, 3, 4. Keep a rhythm of breath that's going. That's soft and easy, calm and fluid, deep and relaxed. And just stay here with your breathing. Noticing that the mind may wander, but just gently bring the mind back. And the mind wandering is actually very, very normal. So for the next few breaths, I want you to become aware of your surroundings. Notice first the furthest sound that you can hear away. How far away can you hear? Maybe there's some noise outside. Maybe there's some noise in the room next to you. And just become present to it. And now bring your awareness inwards. What's the noise that's closer to you? Maybe in your own room. Maybe it's the clock ticking, the sound of my voice. And now bring the awareness inward even more. Let's become aware of our breath and maybe even our heartbeat. And just breathe. Noticing that the sounds externally are still there, but your focus is inward. And just keep breathing. Now with your breath, imagine, sense, see, or feel, if you will, almost like a plug outlet from your belly button going up into the heavens, supporting you and grounding you. And now imagine, if you will, cords or ropes going from the base of your feet into the middle of the earth. And any fears, worries, trepidations, letting them leave your body and allowing love to enter. So you're grounded and supported up into the heavens, and you're grounded and supported by Mother Earth. And each of us that are on this call, live or recorded, there's a reason we are here. And you may or may not know what that reason is. And that's beautiful and perfect as it is. So just keep breathing. Allow your breath to be your focus. Allow the mind to quiet a little bit more as you breathe. Now see with your breath, if you count the breaths on your own, what starts to happen. Exhale together. And inhale for 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold it. And exhale for 1, 2, 3, 4. Inhale. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold the breath. Exhale. 1, 2, 3, 4. Just keep that cycle of breath going. Now, some of you may have been feeling this workshop for the last few days. That's actually quite normal. Activated, things might have gotten stirred. It's all part of the deeper healing journey so we can step into our truth. So make sure you're plugged up into into the heavens. Make sure you're plugged into Mother Earth. That will keep you stable and grounded. Even though this is a webinar and we think we're distant, we're not. We're actually connected, just like we're in a room together. Let's take a few more breaths. Slower and deeper. Calmer and easier. And when you're ready, become aware of your physical body. Roll your shoulders, stretch your arms. Gently open your eyes, coming back. So welcome, everybody. Welcome. I'm so excited y'all are here. And again, if you joined a few minutes later, I'm trying a different format where I'm using some PowerPoints. I will be jumping back and forth to see you guys too. So just bear with me. And if there's questions, comments as we go, type it in the chat box. I think how to prep the presentation is to have about, I think, for about 40, 45 minutes, an hour of interaction, and then about 15 to 20 minutes of Q&A and coaching at the end. I think that's how I prepped it, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. So welcome. If there's something burning that comes up while I'm actually teaching, please put it in the chat box. A big part of the workshop in the latter half is really didactic, so I'll be asking you for input. So have your chat boxes ready or just unmute yourself and speak. So let's get going. Welcome, guys, and thank you again for being here. I'm excited. So what's Women Healing Women? It's a movement that literally landed in my lap a few months ago. So let's first talk about why we are starting this. As women, even today, we're still underpaid. It's really, we have more chronic health problems than men. We live more in chronic fear in a different way than men. We still struggle with our authenticity. And this pattern has been going on for millions and millions of years. It's time to stop this pattern. And we know it's there, but we also don't know it's there because it's so deeply ingrained in us. We know it's there on some level, but we also don't know it's there because it's just what we do. Okay. And I'm going to share some examples in a few minutes. There's a few people who are on the call here who were in my Mexico retreat, and I'll share that in a few minutes when I get to that slide. But we know there's lots more reasons why I'm doing this now, but there's unconscious patterns that run us that are different than run our masculine counterparts. But I want you to know before I keep going, the same issues run them in a different way. And when my guides told me to run this class specifically for women, if anyone knows me and has known my coaching business, I had a business that was about 50% men. I was like, what? They said, don't worry, this is just for a while. You'll be bringing the men in, don't worry. I'm like, okay, fine. But just to start some energy going, talk to the women first, and then with time, you'll see where I'm going to go with this with men. So just bear with me. Why now? Most of you know that COVID, which was just a couple of years ago, represents the shift from patriarchy to more of a balance. And you'll keep hearing me ask the question, are you ready? Because some of us are ready and some of us are not. And that's totally cool. The readiness is our readiness to dismantle the fears and live into our authenticity. And only you can speak to how tired you are of those fears. And we're going to get into those fears in a few minutes. The planet is changing. In fact, I had one of my male CEOs in a few weeks ago before I closed my business. And he was speaking about how the world is changing. And he works for a big real estate company and sells lots of houses and does all kinds of things. And he himself said, the world is changing. We can't create money the way we did before. It can't be the push game anymore. It has to be more in the feminine. It has to be more in the receptive mode. Now, he didn't say to those words, but the rise of the feminine is because the push hustle culture is exhausting us. It's killing us. And some of you know that the Dalai Lama is saying the world will be saved by the Western woman. And again, my question to you is, are you ready? And I'll keep asking that over and over and over again, because it's our readiness and fatigue with what's happening that will get us ready. And guys, if you're unmuted, do you mind muting yourself? It just saves you from going back and forth. So I appreciate it. Thank you. Okay, so here I want to share with this about my experience. So I'm gonna hit stop share for a second. So my experience. So in about what month was it? September last year, when most of you know, I had a very busy one-to-one business, and I could have been doing it forever. It was awesome, super busy, super amazing. I could do this until I'm 70 or 80 and just kind of ride it out. and I had some amazing, amazing, amazing clients. Some of you were my clients, and I loved it. When my son moved out for university back in September, my guide said, it's time to stop your one-to-one business. And I kind of got mad at them and had a hissy fit. And I said, well, how am I going to eat? And they said, well, don't worry, we'll take care of you. And I was like, you don't get it. So I argued with them for a while. And then it took me a few months, but then I started teaching more in January, and I started running events. And if you pay attention to my social media or my emails that I send a lot of, I've been doing about 2 events, give or take, per month, some half days, some weekends, some half days, some 1-dayers. And I've probably run more than 6-day events since January, which is a lot because it's only April right now, including a Mexico retreat that I just got back from. And there's a repeated theme in these events, not of my doing. The repeated theme has been this, and Mexico was probably the most interesting one, mostly because it was half men, half women, give or take, maybe 40% men, 60% women. And the repeated theme has been about the feminine being pushed down. And so we did these exercises I want to share with you, where I had people stand up who were afraid of masculine, and both men and women stood up. And I asked a question about, I think it was day 2, it was a 5-day retreat, 4 days, four full days, but split over 5 days. And I asked this question partway through: how many times when you walk down the street and you're walking by women or men, do you put up a wall? And every woman put their hand up. It's conscious and unconscious. You know, is it safety? Is it, do I trust this person? The men put up their hands too. They do it as well to either men or women, but for different reasons. Okay. So we're going to talk about that in a little bit here. But what really became apparent to me in the last 4 months, since I've been running these workshops a lot, is how much pain there is. And it's not like we don't know that. We know it. But it became like this massive light bulb in my head as to how much pain women live in. And if it is true that COVID represents the shift from patriarchy, then we all need to start waking up and doing our work. And as we do our work, our grandparents are excited, our great-grandparents, because we impact 7 generations back. But we also start healing the women and men that follow us. And if you have sons, which I do, son, you impact them because they no longer are feeding into this idea of what a woman's supposed to be. And I'm going to get there in a few minutes here. But my workshops since January have really been pushing me to start this class, which I'm super jazzed about and super excited, because if you know me, I live in a workshop before it occurs. So I've been living this for the last few months. So it's been wild to witness and experience. But as each of us step more into that powerful divine mother, which I'll introduce in a few minutes here, you will start to get blown away as to this dumb stories that millions and millions of years we live in. And what I want you to understand is, because I've been living this work for a long, long time, but especially this Women Healing Women thing since about October, November of last year, it's mind-boggling how many thin onion layers underneath the thicker ones, which we'll get into in a few minutes here. It's mind-boggling how many thinner onion layers, actually deeper unconscious patterns, actually you'll start to notice from this show. Because we're only together for about 60 to 90 minutes, give or take, I can't hit all of them. But I'll do my best to just start to peel some layers away so you start to go, wow, that is crazy what I think deep under there. So that's why I'm doing this now, because I got yelled at by my guides. I generally say that they get yelled at by that. They don't yell. But they strongly encourage me to do this without much of a choice. So you know how it goes. So 6 workshops this January. What I have seen, I've shared with you. And this impacts both men and women, because men, you know, as much as I'm calling this Women Healing Women, if you ever come to my live events, there will be men there. And they play a pivotal role in us healing. Pivotal. But for this online container, I've created it's just for women because that's what they told me to do. I'm going to go through some rules and guidelines to all my events in person or online, but please, these are just super important so you understand. First off, the first thing I always request is anonymity, which is why I record this with just my screen. The other thing I request is vulnerability, because I'm useless if you guys aren't vulnerable. And just like if I went to go buy coffee, I'd pull out my wallet, I'd pay whatever, $5, $6, $7, whatever it costs for a coffee, and then I would leave with a cup of coffee. Now, people come to these events for self-development. They want to heal their stories, they want to heal their pain, they want to feel better. And the currency isn't cash, the currency is vulnerability. The more we can admit our pain story, the more we can be honest and say, yeah, I hate it when men do blah, blah, blah. I'm really afraid of women. In fact, about half an hour ago, I got a quick email from a client. So in this event that I'm teaching tonight in West Vancouver, a woman is inviting me to her house, and I don't know her that well. I met her at another one of my events, and she said, I want you to come to my house and teach my friends. I said, sure. She said, and you can send it to other clients who live in West Van. So I sent it to 2 or 3 people that I know in West Van. Didn't send it to everybody. I know there's some people on the line, but the ones intuitively that I got. So I sent, and literally this all happened in the last 6 days. So I sent, and if any of you want to come message me, I can give you the address and all that stuff. So we put it out there. I have about 20 people coming tonight. And I didn't realize a few people that I actually messaged, hey, I'm doing this event in West Van. I know you live up there. Do you want to come? I got a message half an hour ago saying, I'm coming tonight, but I'm scared because I'm scared of women. She's a woman. So that's the layer of this patriarchy that is killing us. Okay. So rules and guidelines about my events, the more vulnerable you can be that you are afraid of women too. Yeah. The more vulnerable you can be that you hate women. Yeah. The more vulnerable you can be that your partner drives you nuts. Yes. The more vulnerable you can be that you feel guilty about what your kids are up to. Yes. Because that is how we're going to heal the unconscious. Okay. So vulnerability is key in my events. And the other thing that's key is anonymity. So if somebody shares something, you know their first name, you might see their last name on the screen, please, please, please keep it in this container. Because in order to be vulnerable, we need to feel safe. So as a group, we're going to agree, we're going to keep everything here that stays here, knowing that people are going to watch this afterwards and they won't see your faces, which is cool. So again, those of you who show up live, bottom of my heart, thank you, because it helps so much. So let's get going here. Let's see what the next slide says. If you don't know, I need reading glasses now, so I can't read what my next slide says yet. So we'll see what it says. Give me a sec here. Okay, let's get going. Okay, I already shared, this is more of an introductory webinar. I'm going to do my best to go as deep as I can. And like I said, there's lots of thin onion layers. So we'll see what comes up today. We'll see what we can do in terms of getting in there deeper. And I want you to understand that a lot of these thought patterns are deeply, deeply inherited and have been running us for millions of years. So don't freak out if you start to see stuff, you're like, I didn't know that was running me. Here's a cool thing. This is why I plugged us into the heaven. We're going to do meditation in a few minutes here. All this work is being supported by the energy that I call the Divine Mother. Okay. She is infinite grace and infinite power. And I'm going to introduce to her in a few minutes here. And she has many, many faces. The Divine Mother is what is going to take us out of this, excuse my language, crazy shit and stuff we believe. But I'm going to have you meet her many times through today. And if you join me for the 8 weeks or whatever you join me for after this, you'll spend more time with her. But the more you can spend time with this energy that I call the Divine Mother and her many faces, the more we can uproot these stories and heal them. Because I always say the mind cannot heal the mind. The other way to say it is the thing that created the problem cannot heal the problem. So this is why, and I apologize if there's a lot of counselors on the call, and I know there are. And I know the people who come to my work don't do it traditionally anyways. But this is why I can sit on a counselor's couches until I'm 95 years old with anxiety. And if I just try to heal it with my mind, which I know the mind doesn't fit here, but if I just try to heal it with my mind, I'll just be running circles. And I am one of those millions of people who have done that. And there's nothing wrong with that approach. In fact, it's a necessary journey to the work I do. Mine isn't better than that. I never want you to hear it that way. But mine taps more into the spirit, because in my world, the heart and spirit is the only thing that can heal my crazy mind. Because I can tell my mind to not be anxious. I can tell my mind not to be scared. But that to me doesn't do anything. But when I bring in the power of the divine, and if I bring in the power of my heart, that can heal it faster than I snap my fingers. So go ahead and close your eyes. If you're driving, please close your eyes. With your eyes closed, just start breathing. If you've never met the Divine Mother before, and maybe you have, let's meet her again. She has many faces, and we'll introduce you to one today. So with your eyes closed, just settle into your breathing. Take a slow breath in. Take a long breath out. Take a deep breath in. Take a fluid breath in. Let's exhale together and inhale for 1, 2, 3, 4. Pause for a second. Exhale for 1, 2, 3, 4. Inhale 1, 2, 3, 4. Pause for a second. Exhale. 1, 2, 3, 4. Keep a cycle of breath going. Low and slow. Calm and easy. Fluid and relaxed. On your next breath, invite yourself into a beautiful place in nature. This may be a place you visit often, or a place that you've never been to. The most important thing about this place is that you feel safe and comfortable. Comfortable and safe. And breathe. Let us use our senses to access the place. Let's look around. What do you see? Maybe there's a waterfall, green trees or green grass. You might see a blue sky or some sunshine. What do you see around you as you breathe? Now let's pay attention to temperature. Set it to your liking. What does it feel like as that air crusts against your skin? And breathe. Feel your feet. What does the ground feel like underneath your feet? What do you hear? Can you hear the waterfall or the rivers? Do you hear birds or animals? What do you hear? And just keep breathing in your safe and comfortable place. Noticing your body is relaxing. Your mind is relaxing. Your breath is deepening. As you notice yourself in the scene, how old are you, young are you? Maybe noticing what you're wearing. Now, out of the corner of your eye, you see someone, something, a group of energies around you. And there's nothing frightening. This is what we call your divine support team. Your guides, your angels, your ancestors. This is the energy from what your gut feelings come from. Those deep inner truths come from, that deep inner knowing. Which we don't always trust, but this is where it comes from. Let them enter. And you will see that they are making a circle around you as you breathe. The main energy that they are sending your way is love and support and connection and safety. Maybe notice as they step in closer how that love and support gets stronger. There you go. Just keep breathing. Out of the corner of your eye, one specific energy steps forward. And we will call her the Divine Mother. And she is literally standing in front of you right now. Some of you will see her. Most of you will feel her. Others of you will know that she's present. And some of you may be able to hear her. I will describe what I am seeing, but you may see something maybe a little different, and that's beautiful. Just breathe. As she steps forward, I see her as a beautiful white goddess, almost with blue angel wings, standing much, 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 much taller than I am. And for each of you, will have a different visual, a different sense, a different knowing. And just notice if your mind thinks you're making it up, because you're not. She's told me that she's increased her volume of presence to you, so just become aware of what's happening in your body right now. She's actually doing super interesting, and she's actually, for a lot of you, she's putting her hands on your mid-shoulder blades, right where your scapula are, and she's caressing them to open those wings. Because when we open our wings of who we truly are, we can step deeper and deeper into our truth. And just keep breathing. She wants you to know that you are loved and you are powerful and you are needed on the planet. And it's time to bury the stories and heal them, but she will help us. She has always been here. But for most mothers, grandmothers, ancestors, we were never taught to rely on her because of patriarchy. But her emergence back on the planet, she's always been here, is getting stronger and stronger and stronger. And just take 10 or 20, 30 deep, slow breaths as you feel her presence. Again, be aware if your mind is trying to pull you out. This is 100% normal. But really pay attention to what's happening to your physical body, your mental body, your emotional body right now. And just keep breathing. She wants me to add a few more statements. It is your relationship with her that will heal your wounds. No one else but her can assist you in this. But you letting her in is the key. After about 10 or 20 more breaths, slow and deep, calm and easy, fluid and relaxed. Keep letting her energy almost penetrate you, becoming aware of her power. And when you're ready, no rush at all. Start to think of your physical body, the windows of your eyes. Stretch your arms if you wish, and gently open your eyes, coming back. Does anyone want to share what their experience was, how that was? Type into the chat box, speak out loud. What happened for you, to you? You may have experienced it before or not. Go ahead and share. I'm just going to pause. And I know there's always like a bit of a time delay between me saying that, you guys responding with a chat. So I'll give you guys a minute to just type into the chat box what occurred, what didn't occur, what happened, what didn't happen. And just feel free to share. Put on my fancy glasses so I can read what you guys wrote. Give it a second. I want to start us off. What happened as we did that? You can write nothing. I'm cool with that too. You can write something. You can write anything at all. An extraordinary warmth. Exciting. Extraordinary warmth. What else did you guys notice as you did that? Robin wrote, I was in a magical forest with waterfalls and animals and their babies. I love that. Our Lady of Guadalupe, a gift from my mother who recently passed. Steph wrote, a deep relaxation. I felt her come in. I felt my body relax. I felt my wings. Yes. Tamara wrote, my third eye warmed up and started tingling. Steph wrote, there's 2 steps. It felt like I was remembering what I'm supposed to be. As we have forgotten all along. I've got goosebumps that we're supported and hold. Ooh, peacefulness deep inside. Awesome work, guys. I want to keep revisiting her throughout today. And if you ever come to my live events, she runs them. When we did the Mexico retreat last week, or whatever it was, 2 weeks ago, that's somebody right. The Divine Mother looked like white angelic light. Yeah, white is, yeah. So when I was running the Mexico retreat, and I completely candid with my business, I was like, I don't know what I'm going to teach. I'm going for 4 days. We'll see what happens. Not have a clue. It was the first time I taught 4 days by myself. And without an agenda, like I wasn't teaching a tuition. I was like, okay, we'll see what happens. And it went really amazingly because she ran the whole thing. It was quite cool, actually. It was super fun. And each person had an experience of her. So if you've ever been to in-person retreats, you have more of a almost penetration of her into your body. But whoever wrote, sorry, I'll get your names wrong, so I apologize. It was remembering who I'm supposed to be. Steph wrote that. So if I forgot all along. Yeah. That's one of the keys because she is the only energy that can help us heal. So we're going to meet her many times as I keep going here, but I'm going to keep going. And please, again, feel free to share things as they come in. Tingles around my shoulder blades and heart. I love that, Francis. That's beautiful. Okay. So you've met the Divine Mother. Unconditional love and support. And she's going to assist us the entire webinar. She's nothing to be scared about. She's got many different faces. That's one we met today. There's other faces like Kali, Durga. There's many different faces. Lakshmi, you'll meet them all as we go here. And you've come to this webinar, I already said this, because you were meant to be here, because you're ready. And you are supported as we go through some of these deeper dives. So don't worry if stuff comes up. See, it's all part of the work. Okay. Let's see what the next slide says. So let's go going. What are we taught that sits in our subconscious about being a woman? Okay, so I want us to sort of put on our hats. I'm going to stop share. So what are we taught? So get your pens and papers out, get your journals out. What are you taught about being a woman? So I wrote some examples. I don't know if you guys read them on the last slide. I don't remember what they were, but for example, and I just want you to free think. That's different in women than men, though men might have. So for a man, if he was on this call, he might say something like, I was taught I couldn't be intuitive, or I was taught that I couldn't have feelings. So what were we taught as women around being a woman? I know one thing, and I want you to just start typing, and it's going to help other people. So I'll give you some examples. I was taught it wasn't safe to be a woman. I was taught that I had to rely on a man. I was also taught that I couldn't rely on a man because they might screw up. So what were you guys taught that runs you on some level? I was taught if I didn't have a man, something was wrong. I was taught that if I had a son, that would be better than if I had a daughter. I was actually taught these things. I'm not making any of these up, okay? None of them are made up, okay? What were you guys taught? Because again, the more vulnerability you can be, the more you're gonna get out of this, but the more you're gonna heal it. And the more you will help each other, the more you're willing to share, okay? Let's see what you guys got going on here. So some of you wrote, I wasn't as strong as a man. I got that one. I was taught I was responsible for everyone else's well-being. I'm with you, Steph. I was taught it is not safe. It is not safe. You have to be hyper vigilant. Wow. In all situations. Wow. I feel that one, Steph. I feel that. Wow. Whew. The need to be of service. Yeah, because we have to prove our worth, right, Shelley? I have to do something. So I got to do something. I need to be of service. I was taught I need to be small around men and hide my intelligence. Yeah, that's in your throat chakra. Anyone else? What else were you guys taught? I was taught that if I didn't have a partner, that something was wrong. I was taught that if I got divorced, it was wrong. I was taught if I had one kid, it was wrong. I was taught, what else were you guys? Guys, the list is endless. What else were you taught? I was taught I was not complete. You're not complete alone. Oh, can I relate to that one? I was taught, this is good. Men have more to say. They have no feelings. That's so good. I was taught I need to, whoa, this is so good. I was taught that I need to let a man win. That is really good. And guys, your shares are going to help a lot of people. A lot of people listen to the recordings because these are all kind of that run the back of our mind. And even the one I was taught that I needed to let a man win, I haven't actually consciously thought of that. I'm like, oh my God, was I ever taught that one? Because if they don't win, then then who am I, right? Oh my God, they have to be on a pedestal. I was taught my body is the most important part of me, how it looks and appears. Bingo, that was a big one for me too. I was taught that two women could not be together. Wow, could not be a second. I was taught that two women could not be together on the radio, and could not be together on the radio, and I couldn't play two female artists back to back. Wowzers. Wow, I'm making a joke to Mary. You must feel that was a joke. That was a joke. But wow, that is amazing. Holy cow. Steph wrote, I was taught my emotions are hysterics and women are too much. Yeah. We have periods, we're too much, we're menopausal, we're crazy. Deal with this like we have to deal with this when we're pregnant. It's part of the problem with us. We're hysterical because it's just part of the problem. Ooh, anyone else want to share anything else before we keep going? Okay, let's just see what else you guys wrote, because there's lots of stuff here. I'm gonna swear. This is really good, Anna. I was taught that I have to place small and capital letters so that he will feel good about himself. Wow, this is so good. So please scribble what else you got from other people, because it's really helpful. I was taught that men are to lead, we are to follow. Whoa. I was taught can only access the divine through a man. Oh my God, that is so big, especially in certain, oh my God, I have goosebumps, especially in certain religions, right? Even when I started doing this work, I could feel part of my unconscious layer going, women don't do this, only men do. In my culture and a lot of cultures, men are the only, and I never think of myself as a religious person because I'm not, but I think of myself as a spiritual teacher. And if you look at, now there's more female spiritual teachers, but in the past, in my lineage, it's only men. Right. The reason my mom actually didn't want to get married. My mom wanted to be the equivalent of a spiritual teacher, which is abundant in my language, but she couldn't because women didn't. And so it's interesting how we always think that men lead the way in that line. I was taught men have rights over my reproductive system. I'm about to cry. Thanks, Ellie. I'm really going to cry on that one. I was taught that men are the masters of the household, including have control of finances. Yeah. I was taught that women's spiritual power and knowing is evil. Wow. Powerful, guys. So let's do a mini meditation. Okay. So what I want you to understand is, remember I said a few minutes ago, the mind cannot heal the mind, only the divine can. Now, the divine mother wants to give up this bullshit because it's stopping her wings from spreading. So if we believe some of the stuff you guys wrote in, that I can't access the divine except through a man, or if I was taught that, I'm just going to look at some of these, that my body parts are for them and how I look and appear is for them. If I'm taught that I can't play a woman back to back on artists, it's all in the unconscious. I was taught I need a man to win. The only energy that can heal this is the divine mother. And so in a minute, we're going to do meditation, because I know I wrote this on my social media post this today. As we know, a lot of us who are a bit older on the call, there's a whole bunch of us, we grew up with Gloria Steinem, who's amazing. And she taught us to be angry, burn the brawl. All of that was a necessary part of the journey. But anger takes us only so far to healing. In order to truly heal, we have to do what's called forgiveness. But forgiveness, by definition, is not saying it's okay that the patriarch took away my rights. It's okay that you have control over my body and reproductive rights, but that anger is not going to get us there. Forgiveness will. Now, forgiveness, who am I talking about? What I'm talking about with forgiveness is a remembering of who you truly are. Forgiveness is a returning to your truth. A forgiveness is not what you did was okay, but a forgiveness is returning to our power. And you'll feel it when we work with the Divine Mother in a few minutes here. But I do not want to mix up what humans think of forgiveness. Humans think that forgiveness is, it's okay that you beat me. It's okay that you hurt me. That's not what I'm talking about. I am talking about forgiveness as a returning to the Divine Mother. Forgiveness is a return, as a giving up of these stories so we can let in our truth. That's how A Course in Miracles defines forgiveness. Because until we access forgiveness, we'll be stuck in anger. And if we go with forgiveness, we can act, because if we're over here in kind of all this powerless stuff from patriarchy, anger takes us halfway, and forgiveness takes us all the way to our return to our truth. And before I take you to meditation, I want to teach you one other thing. There's something called Shiva and there's something called Shakti. Most of you have heard these words. Shiva is the masculine and Shakti is the feminine. And when it comes to manifestation, Shiva is the placeholder. So Shiva says, I'm making this up just so you guys know. Because we all know what manifestation is. We've heard of the Abraham work. Shiva's like, I want $1 million. It's a placeholder. It's the thought of, okay, that's what I want to create. The Shakti, or the feminine, is what creates it. Remember how on a few slides earlier I said the hustle culture is changing? The hustle was all Shiva. Push and push and push and push and push with a little bit of Shakti. The Shakti is about allowing. The Shakti is about magic. The Shakti is about letting the Divine Mother do her tricks. Guys, as women, we create babies. And I know I say this a lot, but most of us diminish it. Creating babies is about creating 10 fingers and 10 toes. It's about creating a brain in your body. It's about creating an abdomen and a gut GI tract inside of you. Like, we cannot diminish the power that is there. And they say that patriarchy started because of the fear of that power. And if we don't reclaim that power, and we can't do it through anger, anger only takes us part way. Anger will keep us stuck in the patriarchal system. But forgiveness reclaims our power, because, to be honest, who we're really angry at is ourselves for giving this up. Because again, I'll say it 900 times until the day I die. Us creating 10 fingers and 10 toes is actually, excuse my language, an effing superpower that is really beyond this world. And if we actually feed into the hustle culture to make anything happen, we're forgetting that we have manifestation. Shiva just sets the place. I want $1 million. Shakti is what brings it to us. But Shakti is about embracing the Divine Mother and giving up these stories. So go and close your eyes. With your eyes closed, right away, go back into that meditation. Go back into that beautiful place of nature. Meet the Divine Mother once again. And each time you meet her, she will be more powerful. Each time you meet her, she will step forward faster. Each time you meet her, she will clean out your third eye more. Each time you meet her, she will put her hand into your heart to take out the pain. Each time you meet her, you will feel her love. So take about 10 breaths as you meet her one more time. And she's showing me a picture of she's stepping forward with a silver platter, and she's placing it directly in front of you. And she's asking you to put onto the silver platter any of the thoughts that you just gave me. So for example, maybe you have a thought in you that says, my body has to look away a certain way for a man's approval. Put it there. Maybe you have a thought that says, very unconscious, subconscious, that I am not whole without a man. Put it there. Maybe you have a thought that says, someone else has control over my reproductive rights. Put it there. Whatever your own individual thoughts that you are so brave to share. And maybe you picked up thoughts from other people. I know I did. But I have to play it small so that they can feel good about themselves. Put it on there. Maybe you have on that platter, men have to lead so I can follow. And keep putting on this platter. She keeps saying, keep telling them to keep going. Put whatever you want there. And just keep breathing. And your willingness to give it up is going to be the key in this exercise. She's saying not yet. She's saying keep letting them put stuff there. Put on there that the idea that your emotions are hysterics. Put it on there. Put on there this idea that it's not safe to be a woman and you need a man to protect you. Put it on there. Put on there that you can't have two women on the radio back to back. Put it on there. You need a man to feel winning. Put it on there. Good. Good. Keep breathing. Now she is going to transmute this for you. She is going to release this, so just keep breathing. Keep breathing. And if you wish, you can place one of your hands on your heart and the other one on top. And simply say in your mind, forgiveness, set me free. Divine Mother, forgiveness, set me free. And keep repeating that over and over and over again. What you're doing is you're forgiving your unconscious for taking on this falsity that the size of your body matters, the safety of who you are matters. You're giving this up to the divine. And you're literally saying, there you go. Good work, guys. Forgiveness set me free. Forgiveness set me and everyone free. And as you do this and you embark using the Divine Mother, you may feel a shift in your heart or in your mind. You may actually start to perceive your wings getting bigger. You may feel lightness. You may feel ease. And just keep breathing, because none of them are true. None of them are true. Just keep breathing. And take 5 or 10 or 20 slow, deep breaths here. And then there will be a knowing as to when you are done. And when you feel like you are complete, gently open your eyes, coming back. I want to hear from you guys as to how that was, but I'm going to want to teach you one more thing before I hear from you. And they told me to type this into the chat box as we wrapped up there. It's not on my slides. It says from A Course in Miracles, A Course in Miracles begins this way. Nothing real can be threatened. Nothing unreal exists. Therein lies the peace of God. So for anyone listening live or to the recording, you may say, yeah, Divi, this is you, I talk with my hands. But I walk down the street and I feel unsafe because this man may hurt me. Nothing real can be threatened. My soul, my pen represents my soul, is never threatened. The physical body isn't real. Nothing unreal exists. Herein lies the peace of God. So as women, the only way we're going to heal this idea of threat of feeling safe is when we actually realize you can hurt my body, but you can't take away the divine power in me. You can make fun of me, but you can't take this away. And that's where our power lies. And as we start to rewire that, then we'll have children. We come back in 100 years, I pray it's going to look different. It will look different. Because the women that are coming through are now saying, no, this is who I am. You can come here and touch my body and hurt my body, but you won't hurt this. And the more that we realize that, the more the Divine Mother can step in and say, no, the truth is you never hurt me. But that's really important for anyone. I don't know why they told me this. I know why they told me to say it. But I don't want you to think that, yeah, but Divi, when I walk down the street, I'm scared. You won't be scared when you actually start to cement this into you and forgive it. Cement this into you and forgive it. Because that's when the Divine Mother can hold you when you're walking down the street and then this person comes your way. Because I spent probably my whole life walking down the road, kind of putting up a wall when I would walk by men. And like I said to you, I've been living this class for the last 5 or 6 months. And I've noticed, even when I was in Mexico, that wall getting thinner and thinner and thinner and thinner, and essentially almost gone now, where it's like, I can walk down the road. And in the past, I would have put up a wall because I really thought that you could hurt me. But the more you do exercises like this and actually really cement in your mind that nothing can hurt you, nothing can hurt the divine power, that is how we'll heal women after us. So I know that was a sidebar. So I want to know how that was for you. How was that exercise for you of giving that up I'm bringing in forgiveness. Tell me what happened to your body, to your mind. What came up for you as we did that? Oh, did anything come up as I just typed that into the chat box? Anything going on for you guys? Tell me what's coming up for you. How was that exercise? Give you guys a few minutes. They want me to teach you something else, which I will. None of this is in the whatever it's called, PowerPoints, but I will return to them in a minute. But I'll give you guys a minute to share how was the exercise. Oh my God, that's amazing, Eileen. Eileen wrote, I was ready to let it all go, which surprised me. I love that. Well, you've been hanging out my transformation container, so you're ready, you're ready, you're ready. That's so exciting. I love it how you started by I was ready, because that's the question that they kept having me write over and over. And I was putting the slides together. They kept saying, are you ready? Are you ready? Are you ready? Okay, what did Steph write? Steph wrote, I felt ease. I usually feel things leave my body, but I didn't that time. But also I've been working on this in your class and retreat. Yeah, you're in Mexico, so makes sense. So maybe that's why, exactly. But it felt really peaceful. Yeah, in Mexico, we worked a lot, like, with the Divine Mother stuff. And so there was like a power that entered your body. So that's super cool. What else did you guys experience as we did that? I felt bigger and more powerful. I love that, Jessica. I love that. I want to get up and dance right now, but I'm sitting down, so I'm not going to. What else did you guys experience as we did that? And guys, there's many layers to this. Like I said, we're going to hit some of the onion layers. I love that, Tamara. I threw in a little Ho'oponopono as you were guiding us to forgive. It's full and rich and fabulous. I love that. I love it. And I'll teach Ho'oponopono. Don't know if I'll teach in this webinar, but I will, and in other classes. Okay, so let me teach you guys something they want me to throw in there. Johnny wrote, when giving it up to the divine and auto-corrected, yes, yes, yes. I need a man in my life to be whole and complete. Auto-corrected to the opposite. He needs me in his life. Yes, 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 yes. I love that. I love that. Oh, I want to cry. When I was in Mexico, and I hope this helps you guys, I had a breathwork facilitator there. She's amazing. She's also one of my assistants. So she taught breathwork. And I didn't have to work then. So it was one evening. And so I received. And so I was a client during the breath work, which was awesome. And during my breath work session, so my mother came in, different things happened. And I hope this helps Chandna. My son actually showed up. My son is 19. And he said to me, Mom, move forward. I don't want to think I don't want to be on a pedestal to a woman. I want to put a woman on a pedestal. It's time for you to teach women that it's time for us to go off of this idea that they're on a pedestal, so that I can be seen as an equal. Because when he showed me that, it was like, oh God, because men are equally as affected as we are. And they don't want to be up here. They're equally as hurting from what we're doing. Until we start to heal this crap, they will also be impacted. So Chandna, your share brought tears to my eyes, because it's like the more women who start to see that, the more our sons can welcome in a woman who also knows their value and worth, which is so beautiful. All right, I'm a good crier. Okay, so let's see what else we got. And I wrote deep, deep, deep fear of men, and my husband and subs are devolved. Yes, yes, yes. Deirdre wrote, not only was I loading the plate with my false beliefs, I was able to release the physical discomfort onto the plate without having to define it. Yeah. A lot of our physical pain comes from this, because fear has to go somewhere, because there's only fear and love, like you're pointing out, Deirdre. And fear goes into our body, and fear does not feel good at all. So when we release this unconscious crap that we are sick of, then our bodies can be free of it too. These fears have showed up as cancer 4 times in 8 years. Amazing. I'm so glad you see that. Because these fears, they often say that cancer is anger turned inwards, because that's the fear it goes right inside, and it's done. You're done with it. It's time. So glad you see that. Okay. You're saying to go back to the slides, so we got lots more going on. Okay, we got time. So let's just see, because I do want to leave time for Q&A at the end. So give me a second. I have too many slides, which is very out of vote to me. So that's cool. Okay, that was exercise 1. I think I have 4 exercises in here. So let's see what we can do. Okay. Great work, guys. Really great work. Before I keep going, close your eyes and give yourself a little applause. That energetic shift you all experience. Thank you for that. Right. Gently open your eyes. Should we do this one? I'm just asking them. Yeah, let's do this one. And then I'll go to the end, just in terms of time. Okay, so one thick layer is our fear of men, and you can see that there's lots of other ones underneath there, like the body image, all that crap. We're gonna leave that one alone. Let's move into guilt. So guilt has many layers. Religion teaches us to be guilty. Society teaches us to be guilty. So I want us to dig into our unconscious. Where do we feel guilty? Start typing in the chat box. I'll start us off. I feel guilty if I haven't made dinner. I feel guilty if my son had a bad day. It sounds ridiculous, doesn't it? That sounds absolutely ridiculous. But type it into the chat box. I feel guilty if my son doesn't have money on his credit card. I feel guilty if I know they sound absolutely ridiculous, but what do you guys got? I felt a little guilty, not a lot. Felt a little guilty, for the shift I'm making in my business. A little, not a lot. What do you guys got? Okay, because we're gonna upend guilt. I want to talk about guilt before I take us into meditation in a minute here. Okay, guilt is putting my daughter in daycare. I love that stuff, especially if she hasn't slept well, if she's not eating well. I ask my partner for time for myself. I feel guilty. Wow. Okay, I feel guilty for asking time for myself. Really good. I feel guilty if I don't work hard enough. I felt guilty this week because I was away from the kids 2 evenings in a row. I love you stuff. It's so great. I love that. And I get it. I totally get it. I totally get it. I felt guilty for not getting all the mom things done. Oh God, welcome to being a mom, right? So good. I felt guilty if the house is messy. Oh God, yeah. I felt guilty for shifting my work away from the traditional medical system. Totally got it, Sarah. I know. I felt guilty for working as much as I did and not being with my kids more. Yeah. Feel guilty if I'm not with my kids. I feel guilty if I'm with my kids. Yeah. I felt guilty if people around me are unwell and I can't help them to be well. Oh wow, that's so big, Shelley. That's so big. I felt guilty for being sick. Okay. So good. So good. Oh, there's more. There's more. We could do the entire 5 hours on guilt. I feel guilty about losing money in a business that had failed. Even those words, right? Even those words. Okay. So good. So good. So good. So good. Let's just see this one. I feel guilty that my love, divinity, power hurt him, made him fear, made him face himself. Wow. Interesting, right? The last two are really interesting. They're all interesting. Okay, so let's just see if I can pull these. All right, so as you know, guilt is what our minds do to turn us against ourselves. Okay, and I'm going to teach a couple things before I take us into an exercise. Guilt is, they want to teach a bunch of stuff. As we all know, and if you've come to my live events, you know I teach this nonstop. In my transformation trainer, I teach this nonstop. There's only 2 thought systems: the ego's thought system and the divine thought systems. The egos are like interchangeable, and as soon as you shift one, 10 more come in. Okay, the ego lives off of guilt, it lives off the body, and it lives off of past and future. Okay, the ego lives into what's wrong, what's wrong, what's wrong. The ego is what causes the mind to spur 24/7. The ego tries to hyperanalyze. The ego's favorite thing is guilt. It eats it like chocolate pudding. Okay. The ego and guilt are best friends. Okay. The ego will change a story to make you feel guilty instantly. Okay. And the guilt is something that basically I'll say it this way: the ego loves guilt like no tomorrow. And there's a different thought system, the divine. And they're asking me to work on a few of your guys's, and then I'm going to jump back and forth. When my husband says that he doesn't like or love me when I don't do what he tells me to do, I feel guilty. Wow, that's big. Okay, cool. They're awesome. So I want to change a few of these because I want you to see how much this is the ego thought system. I'm going to pull this first one. I feel guilty for being unwell, and I can't help other people. Okay. So you can see how the ego thought system really believes it's your responsibility to take care of everybody else. Here's the divine thought system. That person isn't feeling well. That person will find their way. That person will figure it out. But what the ego does is it's like, it's your job, it's your job, it's your job. And I've often found that women hold more guilt than men do. I'm not saying men don't, but I find we hold guilt in a different way. And almost like this massive, like 2x4, bigger than 2x4 on our back, that's all up to us, right? So guilt, and I want to change some of these other ones. I feel guilty for working as much as I did and not being there with my kids more. Now here's the divine's version of it. If you hadn't done, because again, the ego loves that. If you hadn't done that, then the kids wouldn't be as magnificent as they are. But the ego goes, no, but your kids aren't magnificent. So it does this never ending loop. And the guilt and the ego around kids is like this never ending onion layer that never ends, because what we're taught in the Western culture is that it's our job as mothers and women to fix our kids. B effing S. If I was in person, I would swear, okay? If you come from any Eastern traditions, and I obviously do, in Eastern traditions, it's very much believed, and I know Western traditions are trying to adopt it, but it really struggles because of this belief. But I was raised with this belief. Here is the soul of the child. The soul comes in for its journey. And you have about this much control over it. If you're listening, it's 0. So anyone who comes from a family of more than one child, I come from a family of 4 kids, all the same siblings, all the same parents, I should say. We're all 2 or 3 years apart. We're all so different. And I see a lot of heads nodding up and down. That's because each soul comes in. I remember I was 23 or 24 years old, and my parents were dropping me off at the airport in Toronto for a residency exchange that I had in Australia. And my parents didn't want me to do this exchange, but I didn't tell them, I didn't ask them. I was now an adult, theoretically, kind of living on my own. I was in residency. I was in family medicine residency in Western. I had done what they wanted me to do. I'd gone to medical school, which is what my dad wanted me to do. I've been a good girl. And I was about to do this medical school exchange, which is a great opportunity. And I actually wouldn't have applied for it myself, but my now ex-husband, who was a good friend of mine at the time, said, hey, why don't you apply? They're taking a guy and a girl. Maybe we'll go together. And I was like, yeah, what the hell? And I didn't really care. I was like, yeah, whatever. But this friend of mine didn't know he'd turn out to my first husband. So my husband was dropping me off, or my dad was dropping me off with my mother. And this is not something that Indian girls do, is go on a trip to Australia with a boy they've never met. Even if it was for school. And they were not pro the idea. This is pre-internet, pre-cell phones. Okay, this is back in 90 something. I'm older. And my dad dropped me off, and he looked at me, he looked at my mom, and he looked at me, and he goes, she's never going to come back the same. And that's not bad. This is her soul taking her. And we need to accept whoever she comes back as. It was my dad's way of saying, I have no control of you. I've tried for 24 years and I'm not getting very far. And you're doing your own thing. But as mothers, if we can accept that, then we can let go of the bogus that we should have been home, or we should stay home, or we did 2 days away. Their soul is driving the ship. And the more we try to veer them into our lanes, the less their soul can step forward. Their soul wants the autonomy it's got. Their soul has a path. And when we try to put them down our path and go, this is your path, the more their soul will rebel. But when we get that from Eastern cultures, that is the truth, the more we can raise our kids with almost their own autonomy to be who the divine has told them to be. But here's the deal. If I guilt myself out, here's the guilt. If I guilt myself out for not being there for my son 24/7, then he can stay in his pain body. But if I drop guilt, know I did the best I could, and see his soul, then his soul can take off. Then he will drop the idea that mom did something wrong. Everything's about co-creation. If you study with me longer, I'll teach you this more. Any energy I put out, my husband or son will respond equally. If I put out I'm not enough because I didn't make dinner for you, he's going to walk in going, why didn't you make dinner? See how it works? That simple. If I go in saying, nope, all is good, had a long day, and so did you, he'll be like, yeah, I had a long day, so did you. We are the ones that start the energy. Nothing happens to us, it happens for us. It happens for our expansion. So all of what I'm here to teach you guys is if we are holding guilt, then we're not giving our kids a chance for their expansion. And I want to just clean up a few more of these because, I'll go back to that one. Somebody typed in, I feel guilty for what my boyfriend or partner went through when we had our breakup, whatever you guys wrote in. Our guilt is not letting them step forward. But if we drop our guilt and go, this is the divine in action, then his soul might step forward. It's not up to us. I feel guilty for a business decision I made, keeps the blame alive, keeps the judgment alive. Remember, it's the ego's favorite thing, and keeps the money away. The money's knocking on the door. But if I hold guilt or shame, I'm screwed. The divine wants to work with us. So guilt is a way that the ego absolutely loves and eats alive, like chocolate pudding, to keep you under. And there's no one who does it better than women. Women love guilt like we love chocolate. We eat it alive, but it only hurts us. And it stops our loved ones from stepping into who they are. And it keeps us out of our divine light. And we've been taught it. Who said we have to be home every night? And I know there's this internal things that we want to be there for the kids. Don't forget I'm a mom too. But there's also this place of, okay, for whatever reason, this is not happening right now. I'm not meant to be home for 2 nights. My kids will figure it out. And if we can practice this, thinning out these unconscious layers and realizing that the guilt is stopping us from stepping into our light and stopping our children, our partners from stepping into our light, then we can move there. So I will just do one more meditation, then I'll put to Q&A. I like Nicole's here. She wrote, I fought with my mom this morning. I felt guilty because I told her I can't help her. Yeah, well, you can't. It's not your job. She's your mom. Okay, my mom's currently in a hospital right now. She's getting a vertebroplasty, I think, tomorrow. She broke her L1 of her spine when I was in Mexico. I mean, okay, here's the funny thing. My mom will not listen to this, so it's good. So funny thing, every time I do a retreat somewhere, my mom always falls. Do I feel guilty? Right? I mean, like, you can't make this shit up, right? She ends up in hospital every time I go to Mexico. I'm like, again? Like, are you joking? Do I feel guilty? No, because it's her journey. It's her journey. It's her journey. No, and I'm blessed because I have siblings who live in Ontario and they're taking care of her right now, so thank God for that one. But I know that as I expand, it's my mom's way of saying, look, my mom's 89. It's like, I'm done, right? It's this co-creation of energies, right? Or I could spend a month feeling guilty that I was away when she fell. Do you see how it works? It's understanding that there's a divine picture occurring here. I want to teach one more thing before I take you into meditation. A slightly, not more advanced, but a slightly more advanced way of thinking about spiritual work is something called non-doership. And it took me a long time to really grab onto. But what non-doership is that you don't do anything. That's your spirit called Carmen or Sarah is having her journey on the planet and is looking for expansion. So all the shit that's occurring is part of that expansion. And if I hold on to guilt or hold on to blame, then I can't actually move forward. Got it? And as I hold on to that guilt and blame, my soul cannot have her expansion. My soul cannot have her journey. So when you really embrace non-doership, you really start to realize that there's nothing that we're doing. Got it? And again, a slightly more advanced concept that's taken me months and months and years actually to really embrace. But it's not about not doing anything, but it's about understanding maybe that, yeah, I was guided to drop the medical system. Cool. And now what? So let's do a mini meditation because I want to open the Q&As. Go ahead and close your eyes. Just drop it. Just drop it. There you go. Notice how much faster it was. Go meet your divine support team. Go back to that place in nature and just follow your breath. Your breath will do this for you. Just breathe. Some of you are already a step ahead of me, which is beautiful. Invite in the Divine Mother. And a bit of the Kali energy here, which is anger, which I'll teach why she's here in a minute. But Kali is the energy of anger, and anger moves us up from guilt, so let her in. Let the anger and the rage that you're feeling, that you believe a thought that you did something wrong, let it enter your body. You don't need to yell, you don't need to scream, just, oh, there you go. A lot of you guys are doing it. Let the anger come up. Because when I feel guilty, there you go. I don't let myself step into my truth. Let that anger emerge. Breathe, breathe, breathe. Some of you can feel the cells of your body that are moving. Good work. Keep breathing. Kali has stepped forward. She's placed her hand on your back, giving you permission to feel the rage that you believe a bullshit story that you fed into the ego. Let yourself feel the anger. And I know I didn't teach this, but most of you know this. To move up from paralysis or anxiety or guilt or grief, the first emotion you have to move through is anger. And anger needs permission to be felt. If you can feel it or not, don't worry. A lot of you can. Nothing is wrong here. But the anger is necessary to feel before you can give this guilt to the Divine Mother. Keep breathing. Let that rage fuel from your solar plexus up into your heart, up into your throat. It's the full moon, so it's perfect timing. Good. Tired of being a people pleaser. I'm tired of feeling. There you go. Tired of feeling this way. Now the Divine Mother has stepped forward and she has a golden platter. And she's saying a lot of you guys just to see saying the guilt a little longer. But when you're ready, give up the thought that you were doing anything wrong. Give up the thought that it was possible for you to do anything wrong. Good, Nicole. Just keep giving that. And as you give it to her, a different energy of Kuan Yin is standing on your backside, right on your shoulder blades, their hand on the back body of your heart, allowing you to feel the love that is there when you release the guilt and the rage. And for some of you, your wings open more massively. There's a shift in your energy. There's a breath in your being. And just keep breathing. Stay here and breathe. Some of you may feel this in your third eye. Some of you might still feel some of the rage, which is completely normal. But then when you're ready, gently start to come back into the room. As you come back, feel free to type in the chat box or say out loud, how was that? How was that? How was doing that exercise for you? What came up when you did that? Now, as you're typing in, I didn't teach this before, but powerless, guilt, grief are down here on the emotional scale. But to move up is rage and anger. And that's Kali's very helpful bubbling map. Because to be honest, we're angry and tired that we actually have this belief that it's our responsibility for our kids how they turn out. It's our responsibility to have dinner on the table. Like, we're tired of that, the guilt that we give ourselves. So how was that for you guys? I know I rushed that one a little bit, so I apologize. But they told me you guys were good, so I kept going. Okay, Steph wrote, I felt the rage. Yes. I felt it leave, felt a point of pain in my throat. And I felt flow and peace. Now, Steph was in my Mexico workshop, so she got worked on. So it's a bit faster for you, Steph. So it's awesome. It's awesome. Because we did a lot of that there. What else did you guys feel? So if you didn't feel what Steph feels, don't worry about it. She spent 5 days with me. So, okay, what else you guys got here? It's getting easier to feel the anger and then give it up. Nice, Steph. That's awesome. I got 2 Stephs on the call. Awesome, Steph. And this, oh, awesome. That's so awesome. Anyone else want to share how that was? How was it giving up the anger? And again, anger, if you've ever come to my workshops, and just because I'm running out of time, I don't have time to teach this. I went to fire and burned myself out. Eileen, you're hilarious. Oh my God, that is so funny. I love that. I love that. If you've come to some of my in-person workshops, sometimes we need to do some anger releasing because a lot of women aren't comfortable with it. It's in my slides, but we don't have time to do it, which is fine. Because it's something we need to feel in order to move it. Nicole wrote, my computer shut the Zoom down. I just came back for calling. I just heard you said something to me. Well, listen, I feel a bit blocked. Okay, totally fine. You'll hear the recording. I don't remember. Okay, cool. Very powerful flow through my throat. Good. I felt a pain in my upper back as my heart was red and circling, and then it was gone, and I was surrounded by white light. Beautiful, Tamara. My intuition is getting louder. Nice. You're already super intuitive and more adamant in what I need to do next. Yes. It is so certain and point to me where I need to go. I can't ignore it. It is so loud. Can I ever relate to that? I love that. That is so beautiful. And yes, Nicole, I don't remember what I said to you, so just go back and listen. And what's interesting, Nicole, is Tamara pointed out that your screen froze, and then I saw you pop back in, so that was kind of funny. Okay, let me do a bit of a wrap because I do want to open up to Q&A. I tried to, at least. Guys, we're just touching the surface of some of this work, as you can tell. And there's a lot deeper layers for us to go into, much deeper. And I'm going to tell you my offerings in just a second here. But okay, but gently quiet. Yeah, it's loud, but gently. I totally get that. So I'm going to give you some offerings, but I want to open to Q&A. So let me do the offerings first, and I'll do Q&A in a second. As you can see, we've kind of touched here, but we can go a lot deeper. And if you can't see me, my hand's kind of like an inch deep. We can go like 10 feet deeper. Yeah, I have two main offerings. One is online and one is in person. So split it up depending on where you live. If you come in person, like you saw with Steph, was just in Mexico with me, there's something about feeling it that I can definitely transmute online, no question. But a lot of people report it's just different in person, like we all know from COVID. It's just different. But if online is perfect, that's perfect. So I'm going to show you my offerings in a second, and then I'll open to Q&A. So just give me 20 seconds. Let me do that. And we'll see what comes up here. Okay, let me sec here. And then I will put up some coaching at the end here. Okay, I have to skip a whole bunch of slides because I have a whole bunch of stuff I didn't ever do. So let's go to the next one. I didn't do the people pleasing. I didn't do why do we get sick. I didn't do God of validation. Oh God, I had a lot of stuff planned. We didn't get to any of that stuff. Okay, let's do online first. So if you haven't already joined the bronze program, so Women Healing Women starts May 7th and May 8th. And it's an 8-week class that starts in May. And we're about 2 weeks apart of that right now. So there's a free element to that where I'll be putting like extra videos. I've released 4 or 5 on my podcast, but I'll put extra ones. I'm not going to go to the podcast. It will just go to the bronze program. So bronze program is completely free. I'll drop some stuff in there for processes and techniques. If you want to join that, it'll be a community of people who are really bubbling into healing all of this stuff. The silver option, again, this is online. It's the intro videos that the bronze program gets. But you also get, with a silver program, 8 videos that are very specific for Women Healing Women program. So the Women Healing Women program is an 8-week course. That's a combination of 8 pre-recorded videos. And I've got the topics listed on my website, from guilt to people-pleasing, connection with the Divine Mother, anger releasing. So 8 pre-recorded videos are about, I don't know, half an hour, 10 hour long, it varies. And those 8 videos are available for silver members. Now, if you do the gold option is all of what I just said, plus live calls. The live calls are basically this. I will be teaching on either Tuesday morning at the same time or Wednesday afternoon at 5 o'clock for live classes. And the live classes are going to go deeper past pre-recorded material to be very interactive, to be very coaching based, to help you go deeper and deeper and deeper into healing this stuff. And then I just added another option because I got asked to. So if you join the gold program, but you want to do the platinum, I think I called it platinum. I can't remember what we called it. Oh, the diamond. Couldn't remember what we called it. That also includes a couple half-hour intuitive. So if you go join the gold, because I know a bunch of people already joined the gold, but you want to do the diamond, please message my assistant. I'll send a follow-up email as to how to message her, and she can upgrade you if you want. So the diamond program is everything I just talked about: the pre-recorded material, the processes, the live calls, plus you have 4 half-an-hour one-to-one sessions with me over the 2 months. So that's how that's set up. And the start dates are May 7th at 9 a.m. Pacific and May 8th, which is Wednesdays at 5 o'clock. And they'll all be recorded. And if you attend the Tuesdays, you still get to look at the Wednesday recordings. If you attend the Wednesdays, you'll still get Tuesdays. Can you attend both? You can. You're kind of crazy. I'm joking. But they will be different classes because, so what I do when I teach Tuesdays and Wednesdays, what happens is I will be teaching some core material the same for Tuesday and Wednesday. Core material will be the same, but then the coaching will be different. So if you want to show up for both, you can, because the classes will show up differently, and you can listen to the recordings as well. So that's my online option. Then the in-person option, which I highly recommend you do one or both. The in-person option is I have an in-person event May 25th here in Vancouver. It's a one-dayer. And it's here at WeWork over in East Vancouver, and it goes from about 10 a.m. till about 8 p.m. If you've never attended a one-day or a weekend with me or a retreat with me, it'll blow your mind. It always blows my mind. In fact, last night we did back-to-back calls from the people who were in the Vancouver retreat and Kelowna retreats. It was so cool to hear that they're doing pretty well. Stuff is circled, and it's cool. Like, it's awesome for me to hear. It's like, wow, that shifted, that's stagnant, need to do this next. So if you've attended a one-day or weekend before, people that keep coming back get more and more out of it. So that's May 25th. Now, what's not on my website yet, but will be by the weekend, is, that's my plan at least, is I'm planning a four-day retreat, June 28th to July 2nd, here in British Columbia. I'm just tossing between Nanaimo and Quadra Island right now. I've got a couple locations that I'm looking at right now, but the 4-day retreats are, if you talk to Steph, are amazing. They're super deep, and they will be covering these topics and more. But the benefit of the in-person I want to share with you that happened in Mexico, we had about 40% men and about 60% women. Having men there helped to heal a lot of the women stuff. The online class is only going to be women because that's what they've told me to do for now. But the in-person, there's always men, and it really, really, really helps to heal things. So, yeah, Steph was at my Mexico one, and she wrote, they are life-changing. Thanks, Steph. They really were. I want to share with you one exercise before I open up Q&A. So we did this exercise where we had women or men who had issues with men, and I can't remember it. Now, I will tell you that we did videotape some of the stuff, and I don't remember if this got videotaped because my videographer hasn't given me my stuff yet. So a woman was standing here, and they did echo times 100. Oh, thanks, Chandna. That's so sweetie. Thank you. Also, like, I so take that in. Thank you. The women were standing here, and there were some men there too who didn't feel safe around men. So I had them do this exercise where it was like, okay, and there were like 10 people standing there in a row. I said, how far away do you not trust men? And somebody would say like 80 feet. Somebody else said 10 feet. And then the guides do it all. And they said, okay, now bring this in halfway. And then energy would release. Some would be anger, some would be sadness. And then the Divine Mother came in and healed stuff. And then it'd be 2 feet. Then it was wild to watch. Then at the end, this is in person. And the men stood there for the woman who felt not safe. And it was wild to watch how walls were dropped. It was like, it was what Steph, it's very life-changing. And guys, I always jokingly say it's me and it's not me. Because what happens in live events and online, my guides come in and your guides come in. And like John said, your intuition is going to go right up. Because my guides will work with your guides to release the crap that we're lugging around. And it can show up like an acne spot over your third eye in the morning. But then when we do that, your intuition is going to go up. You'll be on your path. You'll stop hating men. Your bank account's going to go up. You'll be its equal pay, if not better. And that's what Women Healing Women is all about. And there may be a coaching program that's starting with in September. I say may because I put on my website, but 99% sure we're going to be doing it. I can't be 100% until I get closer. But that's what I've got to offer. So I would love to open up to questions, coaching, anything that you've got going on. So feel free to put your hand up. And ideally use the little reactions hand. That's, if you look at the bottom, there's a reactions tab. So put your hand up. I'll do some coaching, comments, Q&A, anything that's going on for you guys right now. And this will be a lot of what the live classes are about, is doing this kind of stuff. So let's just see if there's anything that got stirred that you want to talk about. Questions, comments, coaching. If there's not, we'll wrap. We'll give it a few minutes and see what happens. There's always stuff, and maybe there's not today. We'll give it a minute. Okay, cool. I'll give it one more. They're saying give it 1 or 2 more minutes. One of the big one that we have is what is it? A mother wound. That's a big one. I know, Nicole, I know you talked about that one. Let me just see what this one says. What did you say your September coaching offer is? Okay, so in September, at least this is what I'm getting told right now, Chandna. I don't think it's going to change. The intention is to start a 6-month coaching program for people who want to coach women with these issues. So if you want to coach women and help women, then I'll be teaching a coaching class for women who want to coach called Women Healing Women. And it's going to be 6 months long, but it'll also include a 4-day retreat. So the price point will include the 4 days plus a weekly coaching class. Love that option. Oh, interesting. Really interesting. Okay, I'm going to speak to that in a second here. How many people can come to the retreat? Good question, Tamara. I don't know. Depends where I probably I had 18 in Mexico, including me. And my assistants were all telling me we probably could have had 25 or 30. So 25 or 30. And what's really interesting that you guys wrote that you're interested in the coaching offer. So I was getting the head to do it in September, though part of my mind was like, I should do it sooner. And I was like tossing. But the reason I put September, and I'm curious what you guys think since you're on the call live, my sense, and I could be dead wrong about this one because, you know, I'm Divi and I'm a mom, so I live in schedule of like kids, right? So my sense is that summer's a time that you don't want to necessarily do a lot of personal development work, but maybe I'm dead wrong. So please let me know. Please let me know if you want to start the coaching class sooner, because guys, I don't have a one-to-one business anymore, so I got lots of time. So let me know in the chat box if there's interest, because I was getting two hits. One is start in July, then I was getting September. So, and then because I think everybody likes to be outside in September, let me know. I'm doing the Transformation 101 class, right, Tamara? Would recommend stick with this, or do you find women are doing both at the same time? Yeah, Stephanie, people are doing both at the same time. So totally up to you, Steph, because there is a massive overlap between the two. So yes, women are doing both. There's an overlap between the two containers. So yes. All right, let me grab some live questions. And if anyone wants to type in about the coaching class, just let me know. And Eileen, let's start with you. And go ahead and unmute yourself.
I think my question is answered. I want to know about the transformation container and the other, but I think you've just answered it. Thank you.
Okay, cool. Thanks, Eileen. So John, the coaching program in September will be both. So it depends. My answer is this. I have two answers to that question, because my guides have been showing me an interesting picture. They're saying to do it online, but there's the 4-day retreat that's in person. That's part of the 6 months. But they're also showing me that if there's enough interest that I might teach it weekly in person. I might, if there's enough interest. It all depends on numbers, because I have to rent a space, right? So I might do like what I would love to do, Chandna. This is what I would love to do, is to have the online part of the coaching class and I'll in-person part both. So, but you don't have to attend both. It's just like I do Tuesdays and Wednesdays, same class, different thing. But because I find there is a difference with in person. It's not better, because I know Eileen doesn't live anywhere near Canada. So I don't, you know, but my hope is to do that there's enough interest that we can do an in-person, say, I'm making this up, Wednesday nights from 6 to 8, and then the online on Thursdays. You don't have to attend both. They'll be the same material. That makes sense? Cool. So if there's enough interest, ideally both. Yes, Steph. Your hand is up.
So I'm in the forgiveness part of the 101 program at the moment, and I chose my mother-in-law, so I'll be like thinking about her every day. And like she and I used to have a great relationship, and then like just as her stuff with my husband started to like really affect us, I just got like for like 10 years I can't even look her in the eyes like when she's here. I'm so mad at her. And I guess I'm just like I'm realizing like it's so forgiveness, you know, I'm working through that, but also like projection. And I guess I'm just wondering like if I can get a little coaching on like what is it about her? Is it she's a mother and she's like not doing it well? Not that makes, you know, there's something in me, or like no, this is me.
Yeah.
Wondering what you're getting.
Totally. Okay, so step back up. And let me just answer Nicole's question because it's quick, and I'll come back to you. So there is the in-person part of the Women Healing Women program. 20 seconds. Steph, I want you to think about this answer before answering Nicole's question. And in a minute, I'm going to ask you, Steph, to describe the relationship and what she did to you back when we started. So Nicole, the answer to your question is, so if you come to one of the one-dayers or the retreats, if they're not called Women Healing Women, but all of my events have gone that way. I just don't call it that because I want men to show up, because a lot of our healing occurs with men too. Now, the Women Healing Women program that I've got, the online container that starts in May, is just for women. That's just online. But then in September, there'll be a coaching program started that has a 4-day retreat. And I'm hoping that there's enough interest that I can also run it in person as well. That makes sense, Nicole. Okay, where'd you go, Steph? So tell me about, and what's your mother-in-law's first name? And you know I take notes as we talk, right?
Yes, Catherine, or Cat, everybody calls her Cat.
With a K or with a C?
With a K, with Catherine with a C, but Cat with a K.
Oh, that's interesting. Okay, that's really wild. Okay, and tell me about the relationship dynamics with her at the beginning and what they're now.
Yeah, we used to like go for coffees. We used to talk because I've known her for a really long time. She's married to my dad's business partner. That's how I met my husband.
Okay, got it. Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, so it was lovely at the beginning. And then it's just like, I think it's just like my husband just needed more from his parents and didn't get it, and was very wounded, and as he would go like struggle with them, it would come into our relationship. So I'd get very mad whenever she'd be around because it always mess with us. But then also I'd just be like, you know, okay, like I'll be blunt, vulnerable. Like, what kind of mother are you? You know, you left your kids to go marry someone else. Like when they were in high school, they lived by themselves. Like still like her attention span is like pretty not good and she's aloof and all over the place and like, I don't know, you know? Yeah. She's never done anything to me. She's a sweet woman, you know? But I am like, I just like, yeah, even she was here like a month ago. I could hardly look at her eyes.
And she doesn't live here.
No, she lives in Ontario.
Okay, so I'm going to start with you. So go into your energy body and and guys, this will be helpful if all of you can answer the question to your chat box for those of you that are moms. Scale of 1 to 100, this will help Steph. So just answer the chat box. Scale of 1 to 100, everybody. 100 being high. How important is it for you to be a good mom?
100.
Guys, type it in the chat box. That was a really easy question. Just so other people can hear you. We got lots of 100s. 180, I think. You're so cute. Or maybe she wrote 100, but I was smudged on my glasses. Okay, 100. Okay, so so what the ego does, and you know this, Steph, I love you. Before I start coaching, I love you.
Mm-hmm.
The ego is saying to you, be a good mom, be a good mom, be a good mom. 100. I'm not saying that's wrong. It's, but it's a lot. And what the ego also does is it goes out looking for where there wasn't a good mom. So put that over there for a quick second.
Mm-hmm.
This is a teaching from A Course in Miracles, and I know you know this. Anytime we're looking for fault in another person is always the ego at play, correct?
Yeah.
There was a divine connection between the mother cat and your husband that you and I can't see right now, though I can kind of see it. Your husband's relatively independent and relatively secure in himself. That's what I just heard.
Yeah.
Fair?
Yeah.
And his relative independence and fiery nature came from being alone as a team. You with me? You got that right.
Yeah.
That's just landed.
Yeah.
And there's not so good stuff from it too. He's a bit whiny. Don't tell him I said that. And a bit needy. Don't tell him I said that. Okay. I don't know him, but I just heard those two words.
Yeah.
Okay. Now here's the deal. There's positive and negative to everything. You know this. Hot and cold, rich, flat, all that kind of stuff, right? Rich, poor, hot, cold, right? So as mothers, we think we're giving 100 positive. Good effing luck. No such thing. Positive and negative. There was a soul connection between Kat and your husband. And your husband was looking for the independence and the fiery nature. That's what he was looking for. And he got that because of the contrast that Kat brought. Now we call it negative, but we call it negative. He's traumatized. He's needy. He's wounded. But that's the opposite end of the same stick.
Right.
But you can't have this without this, given his childhood. Now here you come along, and the ego doesn't like this side of him.
Yes.
That side of him doesn't like this side of him.
Yes.
And blames her for that.
Yes.
See that, right?
Yeah.
But that's also because the ego goes, you got to be 100.
But
whenever the ego is looking to another portion of finding fault in anybody, the ego is going to stay alive in you. And so essentially you're projecting onto Kat, essentially.
Okay. I got that. Thank you.
You're welcome. And the last thing I'll say, Steph, and I know you know this, because she's in my transformation container, came to Mexico, she knows this. When we see this side of our husbands, they can never heal it.
Yes.
And our job, and this is studying this morning from A Course in Miracles, and I'm going on a tangent, and I understand if you have to go because I went over. Fear only exists when we don't see love. That's really it. So he has a mirror to something in me. So if I see him as whiny, I must be whiny. If I see him as needy, I must be needy. So I have to open my wings out and realize that there is no such thing as neediness and whininess. And that can impact him to open his wings out. It's not my job to fix him, but if I'm being triggered by this, then it's in me.
Yeah, right.
Maybe in you is like, I've got to fix this. Like that's the mirror, I'm making that up.
Yeah.
So my job to fix that is to open my wings and see that wasn't true.
Yeah.
Does that make sense to your brain?
Totally. Thank you.
Nice question, by the way. That was an amazing question, coaching question. Other comments, questions, coaching before you go. And this is the type of coaching that I'll do in the live containers online and in person. So, any questions, comments as you're out. That was so fun, by the way. Thank you guys so much for showing up live. I'm useless without people to teach. Jokingly saying useless. All right, you guys are so welcome. Thank you, Tamara. Thank you guys so much. If anyone wants to come to my West Van event tonight, message me. I love this, and it fits. Thank you. You're so welcome, Stephanie. So welcome, guys. So I will see some of you tomorrow night. If you want to come back tomorrow night, it'll be totally different, I guarantee you. And maybe I'll see some of you guys in my container that starts with me. Sending you guys so much love. Big hugs, everybody.